Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and today we're going over the Hot Toys Spider-Man upgraded suit from the film Spider-Man Far From Home. Now before we begin, please hit the like, share and subscribe button for more Marvel content. Now let's go ahead and begin with the box art. At first, we're immediately presented with the Spider-Man image. But alongside from that, we're also surrounded by Mysterio's presence as its fishbowl head is circulating around Spider-Man, which I believe is a great touch to the box art. Makes it much more stand out than most other boxes. From the sides, we do have the Spider-Man upgraded suit, MMS 542/16 scale. And on the back, we do have information based on Hot Toys. If you would like to go ahead and read, please pause the video and take your time to read it. Same thing from the sides, we do have the title and also on the top. But at the bottom, we do have the Spider-Man logo. Now, I'll go ahead and slide this here just in a second because we're not done yet with the display box art. Now, after unsliding the first part of the box, we're presented immediately with a portrait image of Spider-Man. And this looks taken right out of the film. As we can see, we have this action base-like pose. But one thing that you'll notice is that not only is this being presentable on the first part of the box, but also through the back as well. Which I gotta say, it looks fantastic. Now on the right side, we do have the Spider-Man figure, which we'll unbox here just in a few. But I want to go ahead and circulate a little bit more around the box. We do have the Spider-Man logo. And we also have the cast and crew for those who created this figure. Same thing for the side, not much to it. But I think we're ready to go ahead and unbox everything that it comes with, and let's take a closer look. And there we have it, all the accessories out of the box. Now I want to go ahead and dive right into the main reason as to why I purchased this figure. And that is because of this masterpiece right here, the Tom Holland head sculpt. And immediately you're presented off with this amazing sculpture. From all sides, you can immediately tell it is Tom Holland. Now, one thing you'll notice, especially for those who own previous Spider-Man figures, is that on the right here, it's the Infinity War version of the Iron Spider. And the Tom Holland head sculpt compared from this to this looks amazing. And you can immediately tell Hot Toys did an upgrade already from the get-go. Not only is the hair different, but also you'll notice the color tone of the skin is far superior here on the left than it is on the right. Now, despite its difference, I gotta say, I love both versions, but if I have to be quite honest with you, I'm gonna go with this one. And this is the reason why I purchased the figure. But despite the head sculpt, as we'll take a little bit much more closer, it comes with amazing accessories. A quite range of them, that is. And let's start off with this mini drone. And the reason why I call it mini drone is because, believe it or not, it is quite small. But despite its size, the details around it looks magnificent. Next, we have the Spidey mask here. The cloth itself feels very smooth and quite good. Next, we do have a couple of web gliders. 3 of those to be exact. They're all magnetic, by the way. So, we'll actually showcase this later throughout the film as we dive a little bit more closer to the figure. Then we have the web shooters, which to those who own previous Spider-Mans would notice that there's not much of a difference, but for those who are first-time owners or planning on buying it, you'll have at least about 6 of these web shooters. You might count this as a 7th, but it's not much of a web shooter. If anything, you'll attach this to the remaining other ones. Then we do have the display itself, which, although I'm not much of a big fan of this size, but regardless, still it looks quite amazing. You're giving off this Spideyverse vibe. Aside from that, you also have the Spider-Man Upgraded Suit title. Then we do have at least about a couple wide range of interchangeable hands. Then we do have a wide range of Spidey eyes. And next we do have a small mini cell phone. And if I could glance a little bit more towards the camera here, if I can autofocus this. Next, we have the mini cell phone. And despite its small size, the only text that it has is from the film at the end where both Peter and MJ are texting, where MJ advises Peter to please don't swing and text. And last but not least, we do have the Edith glasses, which will actually attach to the Tom Holland head sculpt here just in a few. But these are all the accessories. I gotta admit, it does feel like a deluxe version, but for those who own previous Spider-Man figures, there's not much of an added difference, but despite its accessories, you're giving off a good range of stuff. Now, I believe we're ready to go ahead and dive right in to the figure itself. And there we have it, Spider-Man out of the box. Now, I have to admit, yes, the Tom Holland head sculpt was the main reason as to why I purchased the figure, but considering that I'm more of a fan of the blue and red suit, I have to say the red and black gives off this amazing, unique, standard look that I myself am quite enjoying. And as we dive a closer look to the Spider-Man figure, it looks, well, dead on. Now, already from the get-go, we're gonna go ahead and start immediately with from the upper body. Immediately from the head side, we do have pretty much a well-rounded Spider-Man head. For those who do own previous Spider-Man figures, you might be asking yourself, well, what about that small rubber joint that people complain most about? And yes, for those who don't know, most Spider-Man figures, when it comes to the Spider-Man mask, tend to have this small joint here on the top, as you can see, as if some kind of spider just bit him. But I will admit, it's not that well visible. Although it is present, but it's not that large as you first take a glance at the figure, but it is there, but not as big as compared to the rest. Next, we have the chest piece here with the Spider-Man logo on the middle, dead on. But also on top of that, you'll also notice the spider patterns across the suit itself. And from there, you'll also notice from the arms, which we'll get to the articulation here in a bit, but one thing you'll notice is that the web shooter is actually already attached to the suit, and they're not quite that noticeable, which is good considering that most people would believe that having the web shooters you would have to attach them, and sometimes they could either peel off or might even get lost. And on the back, we do have the spider logo again, which I believe has this unique look, which I love. And then from the bottom side, we do have the legs. And at the bottom of its feet, we do have some patterns here as well. And so far, I'm loving this figure. Again, the Spider-Man is considered to be well known. And there we have it. So far, I'm loving what we're seeing, but let's go ahead and dive a little bit more further to the details of the suit itself. And so one thing I want to go ahead and pinpoint out that while it does look dead on of Spider-Man, one thing you have to keep in mind is the articulation. So let's go ahead and start right in. As for the head, you can move it up as far as from there and down, side to side. And also with the arms, it does come with a couple of ball joints. It'll go as this far. And you can move across from this far. Next, of course, you can even bend the arms as well. It'll go as this. And down from here. Including with the hands itself, they are a little bit articulate, although the ball joint came off easily. But that's one thing you'll have to consider with the suit itself. Now, one thing I do also want to address, this is actually a good point, and that is when you attach the hands to the joint, be very careful because shoving it in hard will damage the suit from here on this side. And that's one thing you want to avoid if you want to make sure that your toys, or your figures, I say, are well suited throughout the years. And next, the torso, it'll go as far as from here and there. That is as far as I'll go. And of course, with the legs itself, you can bend it as far from here. And of course, the ankle articulation, yes, you can move it. And of course, toe articulation, or you should say ankle pivot. And that is pretty much how the figure overall looks. But one thing you have to keep in mind that while the articulation is quite there, the more that you pose it into dynamic poses, you'll have to go ahead and swallow up the fact that this suit will crease. And for those who don't know, creasing the suit can damage it in the long term. And so, for example, if I were to go ahead and have the arms bent like this, well, at first it may seem like it doesn't do much, but in the long run it will damage the suit. Next, let's go ahead and dive right into the articulation. Starting with the head, it'll move from up and down, from side to side. Although it does take a little bit of a strength to tilt the head, but nevertheless, it's still movable. Next, let's focus on the arms itself. So as you'll hear the cracks, it'll move as far as from this height. And if you want to move it forward, you may, but it'll move as far as from here. Couple of 2 cranks to obtain that. Next, when it comes to the torso, you can move it as far as, you can bend it as back as from here, and as far as from here. Also from side to side, but try not to bend as too much. Next, with its legs, you can bend the knees as far as from here. and with its ankle pivot. Yes, there is. You can move it as far as from that. And of course, toe articulation. And now we have them side by side here with the other previous Spider-Man figures. On the left, we have the Iron Spider from Infinity War. And on the far right, we do have the homemade tech suit that came with the Spider-Man promo edition, which I'll make a review in the far future. But having them all three side by side, it is amazing to see that all of these suits were used throughout the film. But if you were to ask my opinion of which one is my favorite, I will have to say that the advanced suit is starting to take the cake. But so far, I do have a lot of love left over for the Iron Spider since it was the first Hot Toy figure I picked up. And as for the tech suit, it looks so good seeing the red and blue, the classic look that we all know and love. But the upgraded suit, I have to say, the red and black, I'm loving it. And aside from that, you can immediately tell there's quite of a major difference between the tech suit and the advanced suit, mainly through the patterns itself. But overall, if you were to ask me, I would highly recommend to pick up the advanced suit as it gives off this such amazing vibe. So definitely the upgraded suit is the place to go. Love it. From the accessories to the color of the suit, to its articulation, and of course, to its beautiful head sculpt. This Spidey figure is a must-have for any Marvel or Spider-Man collector. Now, of course, while it may look fantastic, it does come with a cost, and that is the ability to pose. By having him dynamic action poses such as these that you see on your screen now, you risk damaging the suit by creasing it if you leave it in a pose for such a long period of time. Now, I do hope that Hot Toys one day may create a balance on a suit that is not only accurate, but also flexible enough to pose without creasing the suit. Nevertheless, this is still an amazing figure to pick up as it stands out amongst most of the MCU Spidey figures. Plus, we might see this suit again on the third film, Spider-Man No Way Home, as some leak images were shared with this suit still being used with a couple of minor tweaks. But if you're looking to purchase a figure, you may use the link at the bottom of the description to where I purchase all my figures from. But until then, if you like this video and would like more Marvel Hot Toys content, please like, share, and subscribe as more Marvel content is coming your way. But until then, I'll leave you guys be and live and collect, and I'll see you guys on the next video.